Hey yo, what up, what up? So it's been a hot minute. I took another long break. I think I kind of burned myself out going 8 hours. So yeah, maybe we stick to around like 5 to 6 hours max per stream. I don't know, I'll figure it out. It's actually 9 hours that last stream, wow. But yeah, dude, we're gonna get back into some SCP Foundation Wiki. It's gonna be a read along. So I'm the narrator, I'm reading sequentially some of the SCP Foundation stories, and basically, there's a little music involved of my own personal curated playlist, and yeah, we check out a random page as well as any offshoot links sometimes, depends on how much time we got left. But yeah, before we get into this, as you can see, we have the old BRB or intro screen. And I just noticed that the newer one that I've had does not really work too well with both Twitch and OBS on this PC. So I've went back to the old one. It's just because it's a bit laggy, it seems, even in the YouTube VOD. So yeah, we've moved back to the old one. It was a really cool image. It's just a MP4 from Steam. It's like the interactable user background that you can find on like higher level paid accounts or something. I just found it and literally spent like the next hour after I found it trying to pull it off of the page. Here, let me look up the screenshot I have for this. I'll even show you how I found that picture. What did I name it? Like Leet Cyber Hacker or something, right? Let me see if I... Yeah, Leet HTML Hacker. Let me pull this up really quick. I didn't even think I was going to tell you guys about this. Yeah. So we switch back to the original, well, the previous one, which is another MP4, but I recorded that one. It's from Neko Yume. So it's just a galaxy that you can encounter at some point in the game. And we'll get into the Foundation Wiki in a bit. I got a story I want to tell you, in addition to sharing memes with you. Here it is, Leet HTML Hacker. I love that I named it this because I knew I would remember such a silly name. So yeah, this is the person's page that I found this from. And I don't know, I was just checking out my friend Temmie's page because she usually plays really cool games. I actually discovered Otto and Germa, the Curse of the Late Streamer, through her. But anyway, yeah, you can see I open up the element on the hovering image, and if you look closely, you can see in the background the old intro that I had right there. Like I said, it's part of the Steam UI for various users. I don't have an animated background on Steam. I think I'm only like level 13 anyway. But yeah, there's the source at the bottom. You can see it right there. Let me zoom into it really quick. So if you're looking to find this type of thing, if you're looking for like animated Steam backgrounds and you want to, borrow it, I guess, just search, what was it, mini profile nameplate container. This just accidentally became like a programming stream. I'm just going to leave that there. We had Peanut Jojo for a hot minute anyway. So yeah, I want to tell you about this dream I had. So this was the last time I slept. I had this really like SCP Foundation-esque dream, so I think it's about time that we get back into the wiki. And before I get fully into this story, like I said, there's going to be music from my personal playlist. Just, keeps the air fresh. It's like I'm spraying an aerosol container. So yeah, we'll have just some relevant music and some random music. This one's pretty decent. I think this is like Metroid. Yeah, this is Metroid Fusion. I have yet to play this, but I'm looking forward to it after discovering Metroid Dread. So I had this dream where I'm like older than I am now. I don't feel like I look like the same person, so I must be a different person. I have a wife and a kid, and it's just like happy times with a wife and a kid. We're like on a trip or something, and we have like the SUV or whatever. We must be on a trip, because I seem to remember we drove a great distance, but we're pretty close to our house, And yeah, we had a house, so I guess we're getting back from vacation or something. Me, the wife, and our daughter. We pull up to the house, and it's my daughter's birthday soon. So we're supposed to throw a party for my daughter. Me and the wife are just like super ecstatic, really happy, and it's like a flashback immediately after that. We're like just en route. I guess we went to the store on the way home or something, because we're gonna set up this birthday party. So the flashback, right after we get home, leads us back to where our adventure began, which was initially, I guess our vacation was a ploy, because we're working for this like secret agent underground crime lord who kind of looks like this Spider-Man meme I keep seeing, or like I don't know, like fucking Despicable Me, the boss or something, just like really bald, pointed nose, stout man with like a tuxedo. So we work for this guy, and if you've seen The Boys, or just any other superheroes type of show where like drugs are involved to make superheroes, so I think Arrow also did that. That was the whole plot. The crime lord, he was selling us like information on thugs who had superpowers. And the reason why we had gotten there in the first place was because my wife had this odd superpower. She had like a scarf or something, and whenever she would pull into a defensive stance, like cross her arms and like back away with the scarf, she would produce an invincible door or something in front of herself. Kind of like Zatch Bell, I guess. Yeah, this dream is fucking crazy. So anyway, yeah, that's what started it. As I guess like my wife got attacked by a mugger by a knife, and she like put up the door scarf thing, and that saved her life. So we found this crime lord by proxy, and we're doing jobs for him because we're like trying to figure out this whole chain of events, like why this is even happening, and like we want to protect our daughter from this brave new world or something. So he sends us out on another job, and it happens that like on our way back home is where this encounter is gonna be. So at a local gas station, we're like fueling up on gas, and we get attacked by some guy. I guess maybe I'm remembering wrong and this is the guy with the knife. But yeah, we get attacked at the gas station. I guess the daughter doesn't see any of this. She must be like asleep in the back of the SUV. And I guess maybe that's where we get the party supplies too. I'm a little fuzzy on the details there. But we get attacked, the wife demonstrates her stand ability or whatever. And yeah, like we end up getting into a fight, but it's not like a big one. So anyway, I guess we're just sort of spooked about it. We drive on home, we go home, and I guess we unpack all the supplies to throw our daughter's birthday. I guess like it must be midnight or something. So we go to sleep, I guess, and then so next day we're throwing the daughter's birthday, me and the wife, and there's a bunch of kids there, there's a bunch of parents there, it's just a good time. But us, like, knowing that the stand ability, SCP object, whatever exists, we know that we gotta be defensive, we gotta protect our daughter, because anybody could be here. I gotta protect my wife, she's gotta protect me. So we're like keeping an eye on the party, but eventually the party disperses a little bit, and it's about to end. It's like, 7 p.m. Parents start going home at that point, they take their kids home. So it's not going to be a sleepover or anything, we're just done with the party at this point. Well, we see a guy that we sort of think is funny, and he kind of looks similar to both the boss, and also the dude we took down in the parking lot. Maybe they're brothers or something, who knows. So we sort of like mosey on to the backyard. We just sort of, I guess like my wife is watching my daughter, and I try to lure this guy to the backyard. And we get into a scuffle. It ends up that like, he ends up stabbing somebody or something, and I'm like, I don't see his stand ability yet, but I'm like, this is my property, I gotta take him out. So I think I get him in the gut with a knife myself, and then he's like, rage mode. Yeah, I remember now. He goes into rage mode, so like the knife to the belly didn't do anything, and he's like coming for me now. In our fucking backyard. And so I think at this point, because we lure the guy, my wife comes out, and she's got her ability. So she actually demonstrates her ability. She like pulls up her scarf again to her chest, and the door reveals, and like she unexpectedly blocks him. It was like an anime moment. She steps in front of me and blocks him. So he gets knocked to the ground because he doesn't expect the force of the object spawning, and also his arm getting hit back. He just falls over for a second, and clearly he's still in rage mode, so the stab to the gut doesn't matter. So, my wife, like, she looks like she's going in for a killing blow, but I, like, get up and I start fucking hitting him. And he's, like, battered and bruised, and she takes the knife from me and stabs him in the neck. This is such a violent dream. It's rare I have anything like this. But anyway, he's looking like he's donezo. He's on the ground. And, oh man, maybe the gas station part happened after. No, that's right. Yeah, maybe it wasn't in the backyard. Maybe everybody dispersed and we went back to the gas station. I seem to remember a gas station happened twice. Well, we're somewhere. Not in the backyard, but out in public somewhere. Yeah, it's like a parking area or something. And after my wife, Chan, stabs him in the neck and pushes him over, he's just like, you know, on his arms, on his legs. He's like bracing his back. He's not really doing much, so he looks like he's fucked up at least. Yeah, so I think we try to speed out of there or something. And no. Yeah, he's on his back, and then he like completely falls over onto his stomach. That's right. So there's like a pool of cracked concrete or cement or whatever right underneath him, I see, as he's falling over. And it appears there's just like a mixture of water and like oil, and some of his blood's falling into it as well. Bear in mind, we haven't really noticed any anomalous effects so far from this guy. So he topples over, and like this is just like about the size of like the middle of his chest is the hole in the ground, and then the hole expands further out. It's just like a big, you know, signpost crack that's eroded. So you can see like cracks leading out from it underneath his body as he fell over into his stomach. So there's, I guess it rained recently or something. There's a lot of water / oil or whatever. And you can see it like just through the slight cracks that are still revealed underneath his chest. Well, I'm just like kind of hesitant for a second. I want to chase after my wife and get back to the car. And I see some of the water, oil, whatever, receding into his body. So I just fucking bolt. I'm after her. And I think we get into the car, and we see the guy, I see the guy like starting to stand up. So we go back to the boss. And that's basically the end of the dream. I mean, fuck. It was so weird, because I swear he makes a third appearance, but yeah, I don't remember if we had another big fight after that or what. And I don't usually try to share dreams in huge detail, just because it gets annoying to some people. But man, I think we get back to the boss, and he says something about him, like, yeah, he's my underling, or something like that. I forget. Or maybe that was the guy we were trying to go for, and he chased us down. Anyway, that was pretty long-winded. Let's actually get into this. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed my tirade about the dream I had. What, this isn't zoomed in? Oh, I'm just not scrolled up. Okay. Welcome to the SCP Foundation Wiki stream, the read-along. Whew, gotta like change gears after that. Telling that whole dream was like they say, it was a breath of the wild. So I usually start with a random article. That's what we're gonna do. And I do have another one pulled up that I'm interested in checking out. We saw it last time, and I think it's about time we read it, because otherwise it'll take us a really long time to catch up to its actual number. So it's a really interesting one, and also I think it's just time we read it. I might save it until the end, or I might read it right after the random one. I'll see. Here's the homepage. It doesn't really look like anything's too different. Okay, here's 3441. This is the random article that we got. There's the page. Food and plant probability. Safe. Huh. Okay. 3441. There's a chart. On the chart is, well, here, let me open it first, but the caption for the chart, the effects of PRO11 on a coin heavily biased to heads. Okay. The image is called P-Trees, as in P-T-R-E-E-S. And the image seems to just depict a graph. The graph on the x-coordinate is titled Mass of PRO11. Here, let me switch to the other view here. The y-coordinate says percent probability. And it's just heads and tails as two separate lines starting from both high Y probability and low Y probability. Heads is at high Y, tails is at low high Y. And as it approaches the end of X, or onward of X, heads and tails converge closer to 50%. That's the best I can give you. It looks like a spike. I don't know what else to call it. I'm not well versed in like official math terms, but I do like math. So here's the whole page. I did show it, but I think I was zoomed in for the first show. Okay, there we go. No, I wasn't. Whatever. Okay, item number 3441, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedure Site-66 cryogenically freezes all seeds produced by 3441. An SCP-3441 orchard is located within Site-66 and maintains a current total of 131 3441 instances. So that is 131 instances of 3441. Footnote 1. Mobile Task Force Theta-4 Gardeners has been assigned to investigate the possibility of more 3441 orchards outside of Site-66. Every month, 3441 instances are to be harvested for their leaves, which are to be refined into Red Wisp class substances. Red Wisp class substances are to be stored in excess at Site-66. Description: 3441 is an organism of the genus Camellia, most closely related to Camellia sinensis. Footnote 2, commonly known as the tea plant, tea shrub, or tea tree. 3441 instances are visually similar to C. sinensis besides red discoloration of the leaves. Discoloration is due to the presence of substance PRO11. Substance PRO11 is a relatively chemically inert substance which, when ingested, induces a localized reality-bending effect in the subject. When ingested, substance PRO11 has a half-life of 2 hours. Substance PRO11's reality-altering effects occur as a probability deviation against expected results/values. Probabilities tend towards equal distribution, correlated with the exponential consumption of substance PRO11. Addendum A, Person of Interest Report Viraj Singh. Birth name Viraj Singh. Title Doctor, Profession Medical Doctor. Associated Persons, Urvi Singh, wife, parentheses deceased, RT Singh, daughter. Reason for interest. Dr. Singh trained to be a general practitioner of medicine in the United Kingdom's National Health Service. Dr. Singh's performance in aiding patients began to fall, prompting him to move to the United States of America. Using his medical knowledge, Dr. Singh set up his own private sector health clinic, Singh's Hospice, caring for those thought to be terminally ill. Paradoxically, Singh's survival rates for these patients matches and in some cases exceeds his specialist peers. So probability manipulation. Update: quadruple blank, double blank, double blank. Survival rates assumed to be the effects of 3441. Post-interview and amnestication of Dr. Singh. POI status revoked. Person of interest status revoked. Addendum B, interview transcript. Interviewee, Dr. Viraj Singh. Interviewer, researcher blank. Begin log, blank. Hello there, Dr. Singh. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is that alright? Singh, yeah, I don't mind. Try and keep it short, though. I've got patients to handle. Blank, of course. I'll try to cut to the chase. Why did you open up the hospice? Singh. I thought my skills would be better put in hospice care rather than the NHS. I'd like to get to know my patients rather than see them for 5 minutes. A branch retrieved from 3441 is placed in front of Dr. Singh. Blank, do you recognize this object? Singh, where did you find this? Blank, we found it among your personal items. We believe you have been utilizing this item to aid your patients, is this correct? Dr. Singh remains silent. Blank, when did you become aware of this plant's anomalous properties? Dr. Singh sighs. Singh, so you're taking that plant away from me, aren't you? Blank, unfortunately, yes. Dr. Singh pinches the bridge of his nose and sighs. Singh, I figured it out years ago. I noticed a pattern emerging. When I tried to help someone who was almost certainly going to recover soon, they remained ill for weeks. When I walked, I would trip more often, things would break more easily. At first I thought I was cursed. Dr. Singh pauses. Singh, but then I realized I wasn't cursed. It only happened when I drank home-brewed tea from my pet plant. Blank. How effective has the tea been in your medical performance? Singh, it gives and takes. If you use it on a person that's getting better, they're more likely to become sick again. But the sicker the person, the more likely they are to be cured. This is why I opened a hospice, you understand? For those with a very, very low chance to live, get the most benefit from the tea. Dr. Singh picks up the 3441 branch. Singh, before every procedure, I took a cup of tea from this plant. I don't do anything more than... Excuse me. I don't do anything more than give them their medicine, change their IV drips, and clean their bed sheets. I've compared myself with other doctors. I don't do anything special. My patients live while theirs die. Dr. Singh sighs and places the 3441 branch down. Singh, I can't tell where my skill starts and the plant ends. I can't tell where my skill starts and that plant ends. I don't even know if I'm qualified to be a doctor anymore. I don't think I deserve to be at any rate. So it's like a healing mana root that is probability based. Based on what? Blank. Care to explain? Singh. Do you deserve to be a researcher, sir? How do you know? You prove it to yourself by reflecting on your projects. When you drink the tea, your skill becomes irrelevant. You'll never know what parts were you and which plants... Oh no, it's taking over me now. I'm drinking an Arizona tea. You'll never know what parts were you and which parts were the plant. Dr. Singh pauses briefly. Singh, all I do now is care for people and pray that they live. Nothing fancy, nothing special, it's just luck. Blank. If you seriously doubted your skills, couldn't you stop drinking the tea? He'll probably fucking die at this point. Singh, I can't say I haven't thought about it, but how could I? I took an oath to try to help everyone to the best of my ability. Who do I decide to test it on? Tom, the child with leukemia, bedridden for life? That kid's got more life in him than you or me. Or George, the old man with a brain tumor who can hardly speak. When he listens to you talk about your day, you know he cares. I could go on for days. Dr. Singh pauses. Singh, I can't put these people at risk for my own peace of mind. I'd sooner die myself. End log. Postscript. Dr. Singh was released from Foundation custody and amnesticized after this interview. Dr. Singh was returned to the United Kingdom and enrolled in his prior position. Dr. Singh's business prospects in the USA have been shut down permanently and assets liquidated. Compensation has been sent to Dr. Singh under the guise of tax errors spanning over a decade as to not arouse suspicion. Aw, what a wholesome ending to this. Update. Quadruple blank, double blank, double blank. Observation of Dr. Singh post-release have shown no deviations from the norm in terms of performance. Wow. So the effect even works on the doctor. Interesting. So the properties of even just holding the tea tree plant probably gave him enough probability to make it past the interview as well. I mean, the Foundation's not the type to fucking send him on back, amnesticize him, even this late into the game, 3441, and give them their job back, but, you know, a different one, and give them money. Like, holy shit. Is this page worth it? Let's see really quick. Oh, this is like a meta cross post linked. Okay. Yeah, no thanks. Okay, so let's move on to 682. This is not a random article. This is one that we discovered the last time we were streaming this. And we just happened to run into it again through cross-linking. But I think this one's so popular and so cool that we gotta have the story context, because this thing appears a lot, to be frank with you. Don't call me Shirley. So the caption to the image says, SCP-682, shortly after escaping from containment, still recovering from acid immersion. And this is 682. It appears to be like a, if I had to take a guess, a very large fish-like creature. Most likely just some beached fish-like creature that, perhaps it's a deep seafaring creature, because it doesn't look too common. Its skin is very, well, its scales are very rough, if it is scales. It also somewhat has the appearance of tiger stripes, and almost the physiology of a tiger towards the rear. You can see specifically somewhat of like a thigh or leg with a rump, and the pattern with what would, I guess this could be even a shell, or the fur or skin, or chitin or scales, also appear to have this somewhat tiger stripe. So it could be, at least speaking from an anomalous perspective, it looks to be a hybrid between a fish and a tiger, or something like that. The front of the fish definitely appears to be somewhat of a dolphin, but it is quite hard to make any discernments on its appearance. Along the side, it definitely has the appearance of like a seal or something, and it has a protruding fin from, I don't know, do you refer to fish as bow, stern, port, etc.? I forget how fish terms work. But yeah, on its, I guess this would be port side. Or maybe it's the other side, I don't know. It appears to be a just somewhat medium protruding fin. This crease along the rump, I guess we can call it, appears to either be a spinal column or just a muscular protrusion. Towards the foreground is just a lot of grass. In the background appears to be a beach with a very picturesque day in the background. Maybe this is like Ireland or Iceland, or just some shore-based... based on what? Shore-based European country, perhaps. Just, speaking from a geographical perspective, it does not look like the United States, but I guess this could be like Maine. Yeah, there's just a beach leading out to a very picturesque lake or ocean. And, yeah, in the distance you can see lots and lots of trees. They appear to be evergreen. And again, there's just a little bit of grass leading into that. It appears to lead into massive rolling hills, or perhaps a mountain, but looks more like shoreline. That's, if you looked at the other side of the shore, it'd probably be very rocky and steep, I'd bet. So yeah, this looks like Ireland, or maybe Iceland or something. In the very far distance, it does appear to be mountains, but it could be a trick of the light. That could be water. It definitely does appear to be mountains. So who knows? Maybe this is a lake in a mountainous region. Yeah, if you just look really closely in the distance, you can't really see it too well, but it does appear to have somewhat of a hint of just the type of snow patterns you would see in a mountain. But again, it could be somewhat of a cloud formation, or, I don't know, a trick of the water. Yeah, just somewhat of a cloudy, clear day. So this is 682. The, what's the word I'm looking for? Infamous 682. Okay, item number 682, object class Keter. Special containment procedure 682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying 682. Only able to cause massive physical damage, 682 should be contained within a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter chamber with 25 centimeters reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until 682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts of 682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly and with full force as called for by the circumstances. Personnel are forbidden to speak to 682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate to 682 will be restrained and removed by force. This guy is a massive threat. Due to its infrequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat of Foundation exposure, 682 is to be contained in Site Redacted. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. Description: 682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079 during their limited time exposure. So here's the cross-link, the page for 079. This is has even more cross-links, but it is 682 relevant, so it also has some story-related link among that. We might check that out. Amogus. 682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. So it is capable of speech. See Addendum 682B. 682 has always been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. 682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. 682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of 682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. I kind of read that weird the way I said liquid solution. 682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and 682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted. In case of containment breach, 682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, and no teams with fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. To date, double blank, quadruple blank, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, 17, while successful breaches have numbered at 6, 6. Jeez, this thing's gotten completely out 6 whole times? See Addendum 682D. Addendum 682B, portion of recorded transcript of link blank. Oh, this is the MP3. Okay, we gotta listen to this. So this links to scp-wiki.wiki.com/local-files/scp-682/682.mp3.
Now, why did you kill those farmers? If you don't talk now, we'll remove you from this attempt and place you back into... Pardon? Speak up. Move the mic up closer. The microphone only has so much gain. Move it closer to it. Don't mess up, man. Look at it. He ain't...
They were disgusting.
Well, that was interesting. Couldn't really quite make out what it's saying in the initial, I guess you could call it an interview, but I guess, yeah, that's the recorded transcript of that part. Begin log. Skip to 00 hours, 21 minutes, 52 seconds. Dr. Blank. Now, why did you kill those farmers? 682. No verbal communication. Dr. Blank. If you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into 682. Incomprehensible. Doctor. Pardon? Motions to move microphone closer. 682. Incomprehensible. Doctor. Speak up. To personal D085. Move the mic up closer. 682. They were incomprehensible. Doctor. To personal D085. That microphone only has so much gain. Move it closer to it. Personnel D085. His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. Gasps and screams. 682. Appearing to assault D085's body. They were disgusting. Doctor. Retreats from the room. End log. Jeez. Well, that was basically exactly what we thought it was. Oh my god. Okay, this is the kill log. Oh my fuck. Breaches with 682. First occurrence. There's so many dates. Double blank, quadruple blank. Handled by agent blank, KIA. Personnel D129 KIA. D027 KIA. D173 KIA. D200 KIA. D193 KIA. 2. Second occurrence. Double blank, quadruple blank, handled by agent blank, Dr. Blank, personnel D124, D137, KIA, D102, KIA, D202, KIA, D203, KIA. 3. Third occurrence, double blank, quadruple blank, handled by agent blank, M Sergeant, Handled by agent blank, M Sergeant blank, agent blank, KIA, D018 KIA, D211 KIA, D216. Fourth occurrence. Double blank, quadruple blank, handled by agent blank, Staff Sergeant blank, T Sergeant blank, Private blank, Lieutenant blank, Staff Sergeant blank, Colonel blank, Private blank, KIA, Private blank, KIA, Agent blank, KIA. 5. Fifth occurrence. Double blank, quadruple blank, handled by personal D221, agent blank KIA, agent blank KIA, agent blank KIA, D028 KIA, D111 KIA, D281 KIA, D209 KIA. 6. Sixth occurrence, double blank, quadruple blank, handled by agent blank, D291 MIA, agent blank KIA, agent blank KIA, D299 KIA, D277 KIA, D278 KIA, D279 KIA. Holy shit. That is rare to see such a gigantic kill log from any given SCP. This thing is infamous to get contained. Addendum 682E termination options. Log of events 682E18. Dr. Blank attempts to use 409 on 682. Is that a reference to the cleaning chemical? General Blank, and Dr. Blank observing. I think we might skip some cross links. We'll see. So this is 409. Okay. 0400 exposure. 682 began to tear at the point of contact, causing massive trauma to the area. 682 requests several times to know what it has been exposed to. 0800 crystallization begins, spreading much slower than normal. 1200 682 shows signs of extreme pain and begins having seizures. 1300 crystallization stops at 62% conversion. Crystallized area explodes, causing massive physical trauma to 682. 1400 682 recovers from exposure despite the loss of limbs and organs. 682 begins regeneration, stating that it will attempt to kill and consume all staff involved in 682 event 682E18. Was this short? There's no other links. What is 409? Item number 409, Object Class Keter, Special Containment Procedures. No physical contact may be made with 409 for any reason. Anything making physical contact with 409 must be contained and quarantined immediately, along with any materials used in the transport of the subject. 409 must be kept in a granite case at all times. Any transportation of 409 must be done in a sealed granite container. Residue from 409's effect are to be sealed in granite containers, along with any tools used to transport residue into containers. Description: 409 resembles a large quartz crystal approximately 1.5 meters, parentheses 5 foot tall, and 0.6 meters, parentheses 2 foot wide. Any objects coming in contact with 409 will begin to crystallize after 3 hours. This effect will occur in any material other than granite. The crystallization will spread by approximately 2.5 centimeters, parentheses 1 inch, per minute and will convert the entire object or organism inside and out. Subjects report this effect to be extremely painful and similar to frostbite. After complete crystallization, the object will begin to make snapping and creaking noises for approximately 20 minutes before bursting into thousands of fragments with great force. Anything touched by or touching a fragment will immediately begin to crystallize. Nothing at this time is able to reverse the effect in organic matter, including amputation of affected areas. Inorganic matter will only crystallize for a few centimeters around point of contact. 409 was recovered and expunged under a pile of crystal shards several feet deep. Losses of personnel during recovery were high. I see it links to 500. We're gonna skip 500, okay? Addendum 4091. With the suggestion of Dr. 500-0021D, Subject 409D5 was exposed to the effects of 409 and was left to become severely crystallized. After that, he was treated with 500 and a complete recovery was achieved in 9 days. Subject reported that he continued to feel pain in body parts that were crystallized even after the estimated recovery time. Pain faded 13 days after subject was treated. It is unknown if the pain effect was psychological or real during the intervening 4 days. Addendum 4092. Extensive testing has yielded no information as to why the crystallization occurs. 409 and the shards created by it are indistinguishable from any other quartz crystal. The effect appears to be similar to a seed crystal, where a pre-existing crystal formation is added to a solution causing the crystal to grow. 409, however, appears to do this with all solid matter and does not need to remain in contact. How this is done, why 409 is unique among all other quartz crystals, and why granite is the only material immune are still unknown. Let's just open 500. I'll show it to you really quick if you want to like pause or something. Here's 500. Oh my god, there's so many cross-links. It's a healing thing, I guess. Did we want to check out 079? This is 682 and the personal link. We'll read this one after 682, how about that? And then we'll go back to 041. Good old Phantasy Star music. .682 appears to be now be immune to 409. The use of other SCP items to terminate 682 must now first be tested on samples of 682 before full-scale testing. In accordance with the Dr. Blank's recommendation, see document 27B-6, Dr. Blank and Dr. Blank have requested permission to attempt the termination of 682 using 689. The request is currently pending approval from the Blank. It has also been suggested by Dr. Gears to use 182 in an attempt to communicate with 682. 182 has expressed reluctance and refuses to enter the containment center of 682, if at all possible. Yeah, who knows, maybe it'll fucking eat psychic people or whatever. You know what? I'm gonna skip 079. As much as I want to read deeper into the lore of this, I want like raw 682. Okay, so experiment log T98816 OC108 682 /682. So I guess this is inter-SCP testing with this? Oh my god. Jesus! This is so much! Okay, well I guess this is the page where you find 682 interactions. Or maybe this is just one specific tandem interaction involving 682? Is this all 682 interactions? Oh my god. Item 5000. 682. Holy shit. Oh my god. What? This is all 682. Yikes. Well, here, let me give you a hint at how fucking long this is. Yikes. Look at the, just this? Ugh! Oh my god. I will definitely return to this. I'm gonna bookmark it. But I don't know if we're even gonna do this one tonight. That is fucked. I know 682 had a bunch of shit. Maybe we'll do like a special 682 episode and read specifically this whole article at some point. Anyway. So this is O41. I'm just gonna scroll the page again for you if you're scared, I don't know. So, item number O41, object class safe. Special containment procedures. O41 is to be hospitalized at Bioresearch Area 12. Though not Keter class, should O41's abilities ever propagate beyond a reasonably containable area, the risk of SCP-sensitive information being broadcast to the public remains too great a risk, and warrants an area-level isolation away from the general populace. SCP personnel wanting to keep their thoughts private are advised to remain outside of a 15 meter radius from O41, beyond a designated red circle on the floor. So this is a psychic SCP. It is beneficial to the mental health of O41 to have a sitter in the room who watches television and concentrates on its programming. This allows O41 to effectively watch television through the mind of someone else. I see. This is the That 70s Show college guy shitpost. I remember this one. It's not exactly that, but I just referenced that meme. This allows... Okay, we already read that. The optimal sitter is a Class D personnel with below average intelligence whose mind does not wander or have more than one train of thought at a time. Though not mind control, O41 has used its abilities to coerce sitters into watching programming that they don't themselves enjoy. O41's tastes vary between gore slasher films, having even expressed interest in snuff, and children's programming. What a broad spectrum. Description: O41 is a male human suffering from irreversible damage to his central nervous system, which is believed to have been caused by an infection of a rare strain of bacterial meningitis. I'm really enjoying this Yu-Gi-Oh! GBA music for this. Although antibiotics were successful in clearing the infection, the membrane surrounding his brain and spinal cord had reacted to the infection by severing many neurons connecting the central nervous system to the rest of the body. O41 must rely on a respirator to sustain his breathing, a biventricular pacemaker to keep his heart beating, and a nasogastric tube to provide nutrition. This is just Robot from Invincible. Visually, O41 appears to be in a persistent vegetative state. However, observers in the presence of O41 begin to realize that their thoughts, along with everyone else's in about a 10-meter radius from O41, are broadcast in a semi-audible fashion. Aside from being the source, O41 is also capable of broadcasting his own thoughts to those present. Hey, this would work for communicating with 682. Anyone forming an idea using words will have those thoughts unwillingly transmitted to others in this range as mind-audible speech, which cannot be recorded by any known equipment. Correction, see Addendum 01. Mind-audible speech may be heard using whatever voice a subject chooses to think with. Most typically, this is the subject's normal voice, see Document 01. Well, that's fucked. I always thought of telepathy as like you hear the caster's voice, and you send out your own voice, and you have your own internal dialogue voice. which consists of your own and, whatever other voice you want to use. Still, like, yeah, I can think to myself, Donkey, you forgot the salad in my head. Visual thoughts and images are broadcast as well, but are not received as readily. Images are most effectively transmitted when both the sender and receiver have their eyes closed. The sender concentrates on a single object without environment or background, and the receiver's mind is clear of conscious thoughts. Yeah, this is like high-level telepathy. Communication between subjects using visual images, particularly those not rooted in memory but in imagination, is usually difficult. The sender typically has trouble conceiving a highly detailed mental object from a single point of view, while the receiver will often try to fill in gaps of missing information, ultimately resulting in the receiver seeing a different image from what was sent. So yeah, this is like meta-learning telepathy. The most difficult imagery to be successfully broadcast appears to be a person's face, particularly if the image is one of a person in motion. Yeah, it's like computer hardware. You need the proper mental bandwidth to send the correct thing that you want to talk about. Although able to transmit his thoughts to others, O41 is not very talkative. Attempts to persuade O41 to divulge any information about his abilities have been so far fruitless. O41 is typically silent and normally will not respond to any direct attempts at communication. However, O41 appears to have a sense of humor, as he interjects occasional comments into conversations of others. Neat. Addendum 01. While researcher blank blank was taking voice notes using a digital audio recorder, a fellow researcher was changing the television in O41's room. While the television was on a channel of static, disembodied voices could be heard filtered through the white noise. Oh shit. Okay. Attempts to record mind-audible speech with white noise generators and sound recording equipment have begun to yield modest results. Nice. So were ghost hunters right all along? Though most audio is garbled, and recorded sounds may or may not be voices that are widely left toward individual interpretations. Addendum 02, it has come to my attention that several personnel have used O41 as an ad hoc she likes me / she likes me not detector. This is one of the most appalling things I've ever heard. Are we safeguarding potentially world-destroying objects, or are we in 3rd grade? Dr. Klein. See, is that the commentary of Dr. Klein, or is that O41? Document 01, researcher's quote. You know, the first time I was in that room with Kent and 41, I kept hearing this singing. It was this little girl's voice singing some kid's song. It wasn't the TV, and it definitely wasn't a radio. It was in our heads, you know? So I think, if I was stuck in bed without anything else to do, I'd sing like a little girl too. And then this voice comes into my head. Hey, it's not me. I don't know that true. I don't know that tune. And then old Kent looks at me, gone all white in the face, Note, this event occurred after 239 was placed in a chemically induced coma. Any connection between the two SCPs is currently unconfirmed. What? So is it like Ghost Girl SCP? What's up with this? Oh, there's the page for you, I guess. Let's move on. Damn, after reading this one, I want to read all of 682 again, but it's... Man, let me just show you like this. This is how long it's gonna take in fast forward. No, we're still going. Hold on. Hold on. We're still going. Hold on. Hold on. We'll get there. Hold on. Yeah, we're still going. Don't make me turn this car around. Yo, this is one of the best Link's Awakening songs out there, dude. We're still going. We're almost there. We're almost there, but not quite. Not quite. We're still going. We're still going. Yeah, we're still going. Oh my god. I'm getting hungry looking at this. Just like 682. I'm gonna fucking eat a whole person whole and say they're disgusting. We'll return to that one someday. Yeah, like I said, maybe I'll do like a one-off of that one. Okay, here's 042. Is this Ed? That's my horse. Alright, the caption for the image for O42 says, O42 being made to stand through the use of electrified fence wire. Okay. It's just a standard, like, looks albino almost horse. Might be albino, just looking at the sclera, the iris, whatever, of the eyeball. It has, like, whitish blue eyes, so this could be an albino horse. It has blonde hair just strewn about its face, around its forehead, and along its neck. Yeah, it just looks like a typical stallion. Nothing really anomalous looking about it, aside from the fact that it might be albino, but that's common enough. Yeah, it just has a pink snout and a pink mouth, a little bit of mouth hair, face hair, whatever. It's got typical, like, tiny horse ears, and there's a little discoloration on its neck. It appears to be in some sort of, like, suburban farm area? This doesn't look rural. There is, like, somewhat of a fence, but it looks either to be made of, like, iron, steel, or perhaps just very degraded wood. It's like a very steel gray, though, and it looks eroded in some way. And there appears to be just, like, a pallet in the distance, or maybe, like, a pallet and a log. I don't know, a wood pole. On the ground is just a littering, a smattering of dirt and what appears to be either leaves or feces. Maybe like a rock in the distance. Indiscernible underneath the mouth of the horse. It could be foliage, or it could be just something... I don't know. There's a little weird orangish discoloration right towards the edge of whatever that plant-like object is. And, again, another plant. In the background, we can see just a tree in the distance, and either a power line or just some of the horse's hair obscuring part of the tree. And it's just a sky blue day out. Okay. I'm a horse squirrel. I've actually ridden a horse before. When I was really young, I rode a pony. Okay, O42, item number O42. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. O42 is currently housed within minimum security paddock 12 at Bioresearch Area 32. Despite O42's seeming disinclination to attempt to escape at this point, security measures must still be maintained at all times. Previous attempts to maintain the health of the ground cover in paddock 12 have failed to date. Despite regular watering, O42's presence leaves the ground parched wherever it treads. As it has not been determined what happens to added water, the program of watering has been discontinued as unnecessary and potentially hazardous to the local water table. Monitoring of local well levels and sampling of the area's water is to be carried out on a weekly basis. Or is this a water horse? You don't take a horse to water? Personnel interacting with O42, including any handlers, medical personnel, feeders, and custodial staff, must submit to a thorough search, including data redacted, prior to entrance into paddock 12. Any personnel attempting to smuggle a weapon or an object which may be used as a weapon is to be immediately data redacted. Personnel are to undergo psychological screening once per week after interacting in any way with O42. Medical personnel examining the wounds on O42's back are to be closely monitored at all times, lest they attempt to euthanize O42. So yeah, this second data redacted here, it's probably there to ward out anybody with violent tendencies, because it literally after that says psychological screening. They probably definitely don't want anybody killing a horse that supports the water table of whatever area it's in. Description: O42 is an animal believed to be a member of the genus Equus. Its coat is white in color with some small brown spotting. It stands at 183 centimeters, parentheses 18 hands, to its withers and weighs 710 kilograms. Its weight has dropped significantly since it has been in Foundation custody, due to both atrophy from the lack of physical activity and refusal to eat. The liquid nutrient diet forcibly administered keeps it alive, but it remains emaciated and weak. O42 exhibits two large bone protrusions from its back, linked to powerful musculature now atrophied throughout its back. These bones end at 37 centimeters from the surface of its back, and they protrude from the skin at open, ragged wounds. To date, no healing has been observed of these wounds, though some clotting must be taking place for O42 to have not bled out. It sounds like an alien parasite masquerading as a horse, and it's just drooling all the time. O42 exhibits a listless demeanor and has been unresponsive to any attempt by skilled handlers to incite activity. If allowed to do so, O42 will lay down on the ground immobile, not moving to eat, drink, or relieve itself. Pain response conditioning has proved somewhat effective in getting O42 to rise so that it can be cleaned, but eventually it will attempt to lay down again no matter the strength of the shock administered, even to the point of losing consciousness. This thing sounds like me whenever I go to sleep, except like you can't wake me up. Researchers are divided as to O42's level of intelligence. While some believe that it is simply an animal no smarter than others of its genus, others have come to believe that it may in fact be sapient. It has been shown to make eye contact with persons entering Paddock 12, most of whom describe its looks as pleading. O42 has been involved in accidents on multiple occasions where it has been injured on pieces of equipment or its enclosure, which those arguing for intelligence believe to have been intentionally caused by O42. Yeah, it's miserable. It's probably trying to kill itself. Addendum. A request was submitted to Dr. P. Blank to transfer O42 to Bioresearch Area on single blank double blank 19 double blank, which was approved by 055. Dr. P. Blank altered transportation documents to indicate that O42 was to be airlifted rather than transported by armed convoy. During transit, Dr. P. Blank overpowered the pilot of the transport aircraft and took the controls, plunging the craft into a steep dive. Passengers and cargo experienced nearly a minute of weightlessness before security personnel regained control of the aircraft and leveled off. As Dr. P. Blank was being bound and the plane landed, O42 broke free of containment and kicked 2 security personnel to death in the cargo area. Jesus. Is it really safe? Cargo bay security footage shows that after this point, O42 approached Dr. P. Blank and touched its muzzle to his face. Yeah, it must be semi-sentient. Dr. P. Blank exhibited signs of euphoria while contact was maintained, but when additional security personnel subdued O42 with tranquilizer darts and contact was broken, he collapsed into a catatonic state from which he did not recover. So it's like happy euphoria water that it emits, and it was clearly sweating in that encounter, so he probably came into contact with this, like, I don't know, fucking LSD sweat, and probably had a blast with his alien horse homie. Alien LSD sweat horse homie. After a hearing concerning his actions, Dr. P. Blank was euthanized while under Foundation medical care on double blank 19 double blank. Wow. I guess they just put him out of his misery because he wouldn't wake up. What the fuck? Oh, that was freaky. For just like short horse shitpost? Hiss post. That was kind of funny. Kind of weird. Kind of tragic. Okay, 043. The tag description of this says 043 inside its sleeve. There's the page. The name of the image is White Album New.jpg. So presumably this is Beatles' White Album. Aside from that, I mean, it just looks like a standard box. Maybe a CD case, which it looks like it. It says the Beatles in like an embossed text on the box. And on one of the faces of the box, it says the Beatles. As I scroll up, I can't quite really make a picture of what it says there. And then on the top right, there appears to be like some insignia or maybe an apple or I don't know, just some icon. And at the topmost face on that same plane, it says the Beatles, and then something else in the top left corner. Surrounding this is just what appears to be a table or just a wooden surface. And then in the background, we can see a little bit of a black and white pattern tile. Another wood surface, which is probably a cabinet or a shelf of some sort. It is towards the ground, has a line through it horizontally, otherwise there is no other protrusions. And then in the background we can just see what appears to be library books, or maybe further CDs. I don't know, probably books. There's an X in a black circle, white X in a black circle. One plane of the X is overlapping the other one. It does appear to be a cabinet of books. There is a golden, white, black, lined horizontally book with what appears to be an O. Another book which is like brown and blue, striped with blue and white on the sides. Just a plain black with white pages book. An orange and black book. And then what appears to be like a world atlas or encyclopedia or something. It looks like a very thick book. Again, like the X on the side, some gold lettering. Can't really make out what it says. Amil C-O-T Atlam S-S-O-S-E-D-E-L-U maybe? And then horizontally it has gold lines and then something else. It looks like it says, I don't know, English? Maybe it's The English or something. But yeah, it's the White Album from the Beatles. 043, item number 043, object class safe. Special containment procedures. 043 requires no special containment, although it is recommended that 043 not be used for purposes other than testing. A turntable is to be maintained in the same room for testing. So this is a record, actually, huh? Yeah, it's a vinyl copy. The description 043 appears to be a vinyl copy of The White Album by the Beatles. However, upon closer inspection, the record has no grooves. In spite of this, the record will play from start to finish regardless of the starting position of the needle. When the 29th track is reached, instead of playing Revolution 9, the disc stops spinning and faint breathing can be heard. Occasionally, the entity responsible for the breathing will speak in a male voice. The entity will respond to questions and shows a profound encyclopedic knowledge of the music industry, musical theory, which links to SCP-1668, and obscure trivia about many bands and artists. However, the entity refuses to answer the questions regarding the Beatles, which links to scpwiki.com/biggerthanjesus. Questions regarding the Beatles or its own personal details. Inside the jacket, a small handwritten note was found reading, Limited Edition 1 out of 1. Thanks, John. XXX. Bigger Than Jesus and 1668. 1668. I don't really care about the Beatles. I'm not really a musical theory kind of guy either. There's Bigger Than Jesus. Who knows what that is? Alright, let's move on to 044. Depending on how much time we have left, I may just read that entire 682 article. Okay. Here's 044. And the caption to the image says, Image capture of 044 during an experiment titled Upshot Nolte for Grable. So, this appears to be somewhat of a battlefield image. It is in color, or perhaps colorized. We can see an anti-aircraft cannon in the bottom right, and either part of the cannon or the silhouette of a person. Yeah, it appears to be on a rocky surface. You can definitely discern some rocky texture, but it appears the anti-aircraft gun maybe has a platform of metal covering some of the metal, or maybe this is a redacted part of the image. This could be like an old CIA image or something. As the ground area goes further out, we can see faint markings of what I could only describe as film grain, or maybe scuff marks. So this appears to be a scanned image. Or maybe just an older image or something. In the distance we can see what appears to be very particularly lined smoke We have like smoke grenades falling down or something taking off. Maybe small missiles. Perhaps lightning, but I very much doubt it. Yeah, as the smoke trails get closer to the surface of the ground, they do take on somewhat of a wispy, spinning texture. So it could be something taking off into the air, or perhaps plummeting down. As we look up into the sky, it is somewhat of a mixture of like wispy clouds and also just clear day in the distance. And you can see those lined streaks of whatever is falling down or rising up. In the far distance, we can see what appears to be just more ground cover, more rocky texture area. It could be even dirt in the distance, but it does appear to turn into a bit of rolling hills protruding, which could have minor wildlife or just be more rocky textures. And yeah, as we look in the horizon, it just appears to be like a remote rocky area. What gives me that hint is there is a gigantic blast going off in what appears to be the mid to far foreground. There's no discernible distance here aside from the far background and the foreground, so it's hard to tell what's going on here. This could even be a sort of Dadaistic art piece, because just remembering this square, this rectangle, it does somewhat cut off the rocky texture in a very like photoshopped or artistic way. So this again could be images copied and pasted together. But yes, there's either a nuclear blast or just a bomb going off. And we can note a lot of smoke towards the origination of the bomb, as well as differently colored, more protruding present smoke, and then leading into a column and a mushroom top with a very powerful, like, orangish feature in the middle of the mushroom. So either this is mid-detonation, or there's some, like, secondary effect to this explosion. In the air, it seems we can discern either jet planes, or just a type of plane, or even just seagulls, or some type of bird or something. And yeah, as the explosion erupts out into the surface area of the ground cover, we can see like some black smoke or dust rising. Okay, that's O44's image. O44 item number O44, object class safe, special containment procedures. A constant stream of hydrogen ions, unbound oxygen atoms, and other trace-free radicals emanate from the muzzle of O44 at all times. Because of this, the docking stations of O44 are to be well ventilated and to keep dangerous gases and moisture from accumulating. Muzzle coverings are to be fitted at all times to keep birds and small animals from investigating the large open barrel of O44. So is this like a temporal paradox? Is there like a detonation that's stuck in time? Addendum double blank 2000 single blank. As O44 has not been involved in any significant incidents in the double blank years it has been held by the Foundation, O44 has been reclassified as safe. Must I really define significant incidents? If containment procedures and standard safety protocols are to be followed, 44 appears to be no more dangerous than any other big blank gun. Note the bear incident does not count. 05 double blank. Description: O44 is a howitzer, secretly manufactured in the late stages of the Second World War by Krupp engineers, personally supervised by Albert Speer, German Minister of Armaments and War Production under Adolf Hitler. O44 is unique not only because of its size, 251,000 kilograms or 251 metric tons, but also because it fires unconventional artillery using an atypical delivery method. Rather than having a breech for loading shells, the rear of the barrel is configured into a massive air compression chamber. Any object or pile of objects that fits may be loaded into O44's muzzle to be used as ammunition. It's just that one, like, item firing cannon from Fallout. Because of its size, O44 must remain rail-mounted and requires 2 freight locomotives to move. Okay, I guess that explains, like, the gigantic platform it has. You can see it in the bottom right corner of the image. Researchers believe that O44 weakens molecular and atomic bonds in any material loaded into its muzzle. However, the method by which O44 affects molecular bonds is not known, due primarily to the numerous complex mechanisms that compose the housing and workings of O44. In fact, some mechanisms appear useless and seem to do nothing other than spin or make noise, even when O44 is not supplied with power. Both equipment and personnel have been lost while exploring the inside of O44's barrel. So it's just like anything nuke launcher. When O44 is fired, all matter within its barrel is ejected at a high rate of speed as a glowing red slug, proportional in size to the amount of mass loaded into the muzzle. Ah, I see. It's like a proto-fusion cannon or something. Upon striking a solid object or the ground, the slug explodes with a yield proportional to the mass of the original ammunition at no less than a triple blank % mass to energy conversion rate. The yield will also increase somewhat the longer the slug remains in the barrel. The greatest known yield was achieved when the administrator's 8,900 kilogram, 19,500 pound personal diesel pickup truck was loaded in its entirety into the muzzle of O44 and fired in the pictured experiment. So this is the blast from the record. What the fuck? It's just some weird World War shit. This was probably handed down through the Foundation, through like FBI records. Okay. Well, that was kind of cool. Kind of like a peek back into World War II, I guess, too. Anomalous nuclear launcher. Okay, here's O45. O45, item number O45, object class safe. Special containment procedures. O45 is to be kept affixed to an examination platform in a hemispherical chamber measuring 5 meters in radius at Oceanographic Research Station 12, located at dot double blank hyphen double blank comma dot triple blank hyphen double blank on the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean. Almost said Pacific Ocean. So yes, this is coordinates, presumably. The chamber is to be kept filled with gaseous neon at equilibrium pressure with the surrounding environment. The chamber is separated from habitable proportions of the station by 5 meters of local seawater, and all interactions with O45 are to be performed via telepresence or robotic means. The bindings that attach O45 to its platform are fitted with quick-release latches, which are to be released when necessary to prevent a containment breach. Given the seismic activity associated with O45, if the containment chamber is damaged or breached by seismological activity, O45 should be recovered by remotely controlled drone vehicles and kept at least 10 meters from human-inhabited spaces until such time as repairs can be completed to the optimal containment chamber. Description: O45 is an icosahedron composed of ice-12. Oh, fuck. We've already had an Ice-9 reference. Footnote. Footnote 1. A metastable form of water ice that is typically formed only within a narrow range of very high pressures and temperatures. So this is Ice-12. Holy fuck. Heavily occluded with planar fractures in a regular complex pattern. O45 has an average radius of 1.7 meters and a density of 2.6 grams per centimeter cubed, which is approximately twice that of non-anomalous Ice-12. Where do you find this non-anomalously? I guess in a laboratory. O45 remains in a stable state at temperatures ranging from 0.074 to 500 Kelvin, approximately negative 273 degrees Celsius to 227 degrees Celsius, and pressures ranging from 0.4 pascals to 3 gigapascals, approximately 3.95 microatmospheres to 29,600 atmospheres. Although it is possible to melt or vaporize O45 at temperatures and pressures outside of these ranges, the H2 involved is attracted to itself by unknown means and will remain within very close proximity unless forcibly separated. Okay, that's fucked. The water will refreeze as soon as conditions return to a position inside O45's stable range, and any subportions kept separate prior to refreezing will freeze into smaller icosahedrons identical in form and properties to the total amount of O45. So if you don't have any context, Ice 9, and I guess maybe by proxy Ice 12, is kind of like a meta ice. It fucking destroys the universe, basically. Based on, it's from Cat's Cradle. What was that the name of the book? Kurt Vonnegut. Based on available evidence, it is currently believed that O45 is a three-dimensional projection of a hyper-icosahedron. Really? Footnote 2, a regular polyhedron that exists in 4 spatial dimensions and has 600 regular tetrahedral facets. A regular polyhedron that exists in 4 spatial dimensions and has 600 a regular polyhedron that exists in 4 spatial dimensions and has 600 regular tetrahedral facets. O45 is a 3-dimensional projection of a hyper-icosahedron. Research is ongoing to determine how O45 is able to maintain a stable lower-dimensional projection, and whether this can be adapted for use when interacting with other dimensionally anomalous SCP items. Yeah, that's really cool. This is like a physics nerd's paradise. At unpredictable intervals, ranging from 2 weeks to 3 months, O45 will spontaneously rotate around multiple axes simultaneously, for a period no longer than 73 seconds. During this period, a series of small seismic events, less than 2.5 on the Richter scale, will occur in the immediate area of O45. If O45 is prevented from rotating, the seismic events increase in strength logarithmically to a maximum of 5.3 on the Richter scale. Interesting. Following the end of the rotation period, the radius of O45's effect will temporarily double for the same amount of time that it rotated. So you really don't want to hold on to this thing for too long. When gaseous nitrogen or argon, footnote 3, nitrogen composes approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere by volume. Argon composes approximately 0.93% of the Earth's atmosphere by volume. When gaseous nitrogen or argon come within 3.7 meters of any portion of O45, they are replaced by different compounds. N2 is replaced by liquid water at a conversion rate of 1 mole N2 to 1.9 mole H2O, and argon is replaced by crystalline NaCl table salt at a conversion rate of 1 mole argon to 4.26 mole NaCl. O45 was discovered in 1972 when a Foundation submarine scouting the Pacific Abyssal Plain for suitable locations for undersea bases was diverted to investigate the epicenter of a series of unexpectedly localized strong tremors. O45 was found lodged in a crevice, which had apparently prevented it from rotating. When removed from the crevice, it was brought towards the vessel for further study, and upon coming within range of the interior atmosphere, exhibited its anomalous effects. This resulted in a catastrophic breach of internal containment protocols, and the loss of 12 crew members prior to O45 being released and the submarine moving out of range. Addendum. Following several years of testing, it was accidentally discovered that O45 also converts hydrogen gas into a random mixture of simple amino acids at a rate of 1 mol H2 to 0.4 mol amino acids. Huh. So this could be the primordial soup event object. However, this conversion only occurs when the gas is diffused in saline water. Yeah, again, salt water, it would already create that in a perfect spherical water object with, just any amount of amino acid and random shit, rocks and whatnot. Such as that produced by O45. Analysis of the seafloor surrounding the location where O45 was discovered has revealed a large community of microfauna and microflora that It is approximately 3 times as diverse as would be expected given the geography and location. So the amino acids, dude, all have biochemistry wherein the amino acids produced by O45 are statistically overabundant, as compared to microbiota from similar geologic regions. Additionally, all thrive when immersed in pure saltwater devoid of all of organic materials. So yeah, this is a primordial soup SCP object. This might not even be like anomalous. This could be a direct effect of Ice-12 or something. Very interesting. Extra-dimensional ectoentropic. Very cool. Here's O46. Let's go ahead and check it out. O46. Item number O46. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. The land surrounding O46 has been purchased and surrounded by multiple layers of security, including fencing, barricades, and lethal effect traps. Multiple signs marking the area as private property are to be prominently displayed. The area is to be heavily guarded at all times to prevent access by civilians to O46. All personnel working around or within a 50-kilometer radius of O46 are to undergo rigorous medical testing to ensure the absence of any potentially life-threatening illnesses. Additionally, increased mental health examinations are to be administered to ensure that no personnel inclined or potentially inclined towards self-harm or self-destructive tendencies are allowed within the 50-kilometer radius. Any injured personnel are to be evacuated to a hospital outside of the 30-kilometer zone around O46. All vegetation surrounding O46 is to be destroyed, and all animals attempting to access O46 are to be terminated and destroyed before reaching its outer perimeter. I think I know what this one is. Yeah, I think I know exactly what this is. Any personnel showing unusual interest either in O46 or in traveling to the region near O46 are to undergo medical examinations as detailed above. Any modification to these containment procedures are to be approved by O5 Command before being added to this containment document. O5 Command's coming in for this one, it's a serious one. Any personnel attempting to modify this document without appropriate authorization are to be demoted and reassigned. Description: O46 is a predatory botanical mass located in southwestern Kentucky. O46 is composed of 2 parts. O461 is a large mass of vegetative matter, composed largely of plants indigenous to the region, including Quercus alba, Ilex aquifolium, and Lonicera sempervirens, although several offshoots composed of other plant species are also present. O462 is the land in the immediate vicinity of O461, extending to a roughly circular area 20 meters in radius from its base. This area is O46's primary feeding area. O46 is capable of attracting prey within a 50-kilometer radius through hallucinogenic means. All evacuations of personnel should carry them outside of this radius to disable O46's effect. Well, we're getting close. I'm pretty sure I know which one this is, though. Animals, including humans, suffering from potentially life-threatening physical injuries or diseases, or who are afflicted by psychological disorders that induce self-destructive tendencies, feel a powerful compulsion to come to O462 and lie in a prostrate position facing O461. Yep. This is the tree that eats suicidal people. Individuals lying in such a position are rapidly attacked by an unusually powerful combination of saprophytic organisms and opportunistic infections, including several strains of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus MRSA, known to induce necrotizing fasciitis, which is known as flesh-eating bacteria, a form of fungal spore similar to Stachybotrys cartarum, or black mold, which poisons prey organisms and induces paralysis. And finally, complete consumption by several heretofore unknown species of insect that emerge from the inside of O461 during the final stage of feeding. O46 appears to derive nutrition through the complete digestion of affected individuals, particularly larger mammals such as humans. It is unknown whether O46 is capable of growth, As such, all steps are to be taken to ensure that O46 is deprived of prey until more information is known about its abilities. These efforts are to include terminating individuals prior to their arrival at O46 and disposing of their bodies in a separate location. Addendum 046A, investigation is ongoing into potential mimetic effects brought about by knowledge of O46 due to anomalous effects demonstrated by certain personnel in response to O46. Access to document 04607 is restricted to level 4 personnel and above. Document 046, item number 046, object class safe. Special containment procedures. The land surrounding 046 is to be cordoned off, marked as private property and surrounded by multiple layers of fencing. The area is to be guarded by no less than 10 guards, though minimal armaments are required. While knowledge of 046's effects is not to be made widely known, personnel afflicted with the life-threatening diseases may be permitted to enter 046-2 after psychological screening for self-destructive tendencies. So this is reclassified as safe if you have clearance for this, and like I said, it's the suicide tree. Likewise, D-Class personnel selected for termination may be effectively exposed to 046-2 to facilitate this process. Due to the lack of threat to Foundation security, individuals not employed by the Foundation may be permitted to access 046, though Foundation needs for access take first priority. The description: 046 is composed of two parts. 0461 is a cylindrical area 5 meters in diameter and 30 meters tall, containing several species of plant matter, including Quercus alba, white oak, ilex aquifolium, European hollybush, and Lonacara sempervirens Kentucky honeysuckle. Though several offshoots composed of other plant species are also present, no anomalous traits have been detected in the molecular composition of the plants. 042 is a clearing of grass extending approximately 20 meters around 0461. 046's anomalous effects extend principally to animals, including humans, that are threatened by chronic or debilitating illnesses or injuries. 046 is frequently visited by such individuals. Humans of this type report having felt a compulsion to travel to 046's location, often reporting that the location came to them in a dream. Psychological evaluations have consistently shown that such individuals were not previously aware of either the Foundation or 046's specific properties. Individuals feeling this compulsion have all reported having been within a 50-kilometer radius of 046 at the time. This is believed to be the outer range of the object's compulsive range. Individuals who come to 046 consistently describe a dream in which they lie down in the vicinity of 0461 and rest. Immediately upon entering 0462, individuals suffering from chronic pain or traumatic mental conditions will describe their symptoms as receding, accompanied by a feeling of calmness, relaxation, and euphoria. Individuals lying down in 0461 will begin to be covered by several vines, similar to runners of Cynodon dactylon plants, also known as Bermuda grass, followed by the apparent sprouting of C. dactylon all over the body. 046 has no compulsive properties, and its effects will only manifest on individuals willing to experience the effects voluntarily. So it's almost like a mimetic mind, hallucinogenic nature virus that only takes you if you want to be taken. Although that precludes it. Does the dream have a factor in this, or do you have to want to go to it in the beginning? Do you have to want to die? Individuals exposed to 046 will remain communicative until they are no longer visible beneath the grass growing across their bodies. All individuals exposed to 046's effects describe a feeling of peace and serenity, and a happiness that they are able to die pleasantly. 046 appears to fully decompose individuals exposed to its effects within 2 hours and may or may not use decomposed tissue as a food source. Addendum 0461. 046 to be reclassified as Euclid and primary containment document to be rewritten to demonstrate 046's predatory nature by order of 05 command. Any reference to voluntary Any references to voluntary individuals are to be removed. Description to be rewritten to emphasize the volatile and lethal nature of O46 and potential threat thereof. Addendum 0462. There is no evidence whatsoever that O46 is predatory or has any desire to harm any creature unwilling to expose itself to O46's effects. Suggest original containment procedures be reenacted and voluntary access to O46 continued. No individuals are capable of breaching Foundation security once exposed to O46. As such, there is no reason to deny afflicted individuals the opportunity for relief. Likewise, there is no reason to make this entity seem more hostile than it actually is, aside from a desire to portray every object in Foundation custody as dangerous. Some things must be contained simply because they are strange. Dr. Edward Carter, Head Researcher 046. Addendum 0463. Dr. Carter, Principal Researcher for 046, is to be removed from his position and reassigned to the 1250 Project. Addendum 0461 stands by order of O5 Command. So I guess they kinda let people kill themselves if they want. Interesting, I guess. He got reassigned. They expected him to kill himself right at the end. Well, here's 1250. I'm gonna skip it for now. Let's just move on. 047. Okay. Oh yeah, we got a lot on this one. Okay, here's 047. Item number 047, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures 047 is to be contained in a 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter by 1 meter hermetically sealed storage box at all times. The box is to be locked in Storage Locker 07A inside P3 Secure Biohazard Lab 047B. Any entrance to an activity inside 047B will be recorded by biometric scan, closed circuit camera, and redacted. Entry to 047B requires the authorization of the project manager in addition to at least one 05 level clearance. 047 is to be treated as a priority 4 contagious biohazard in all protocols, including mandatory quarantine if exposed. Suite Q047 has been provided adjunct to Lab 047B for this purpose. In the event of outside contamination of 0471, Lockdown Protocol 04701 Yersinia must be engaged. Description: 047 is a heavily rusted, breached gas cylinder made of an iron redacted alloy. When exposed to open air, the material of the cylinder evaporates slowly, producing a previously undocumented mutagenic gas. This gas has no effect on eukaryotic organisms, e.g. humans, but profoundly alters prokaryotes, showing preference for common human microbiota, the natural microorganisms that live on the skin and throughout the body. On rare occasions, these mutations produce a superbug, collectively known as 0471, a natural commensal with enhanced survivability and therefore opportunistic pathogenicity. The pattern of changes induced by 047 suggests that these highly infectious microbes are, at least to some degree, selected for. Wow, okay, so a very viral superbug. Although the specifics of 0471 species are dependent on the base bacterium from which it is derived, there are several characteristics which appear to be generally consistent across all cases of 0471 mutation. Enhanced survivability in the bacterium's natural environment and similar environments. Full spectrum antibiotic resistance. Increased reproduction rate and consumption of available material. Development of a sporulation ability in gram-positive bacteria. Increased ability to uptake, hold, and share plasmoids, particularly in gram-negative bacteria. Increased transmission due to traits described above. So it kind of takes the host hostile, or takes them prisoner? Hostage, that's the word I'm looking for. But the host does not have any mind effects. Weird. So it is kind of like a smart superbug. It utilizes both the micro and macro organisms of the body to perpetuate itself. 0471 samples are normally debilitating and virulent. However, compared to other Keter-class SCPs, it should be noted that O471 have a relatively low mortality rate due to their action through mundane biological pathways. So really, it's just you gotta cordon people off that get this. Several strains of bacteria have been selectively mutated by O47. Mutation of bacteria in culture is possible, but the process appears to be much more effective with bacteria living on a human host. Generally, mutation of natural commensals for experimental purposes is encouraged. After the containment breach of 30/01/2010, see Incident Report Yersinia 04701, parentheses 2010, mutation of already pathogenic species is banned and all existing samples must be destroyed. Kind of a short page. It's just all about 047, I guess we'll read it. So, Incident Report Yersinia 04701, parentheses 2010, SCP involved 047 description. On 30/01/2010, at approximately 0300 hours, storage locker 04C, site double blank lab 047B, containing bacterial samples mutated by 047 was compromised after a complete simultaneous data expunged, leading to failure of security measures in the area. 3 samples of a total of 12 were stolen. Data expunged since the initial containment break. Outbreaks of one of the stolen bacteria strains, Proprion the bacterium 047A, were recorded globally in communities of increasing size and population density. Further information on stolen material spread and containment follows. Compromised items: Propionibacterium 047A, Streptococcus 047C, and Clostridium 047A. See 047 for further information. Outbreak Information. First outbreak, P047A 2702-2010, Siberia. Contained. See Incident Report P047A 03-2010. Second outbreak, P047A 30/03/2010, Northwest Territories, Canada. Contained. See Incident Report P047A 04-2010. Third outbreak, 29/04/2010, South Australia. Contained. See Incident Report P047A 05-2010. Fourth outbreak, P047A. I guess the last one was P047A as well. 27/05/2010, Mato Grosso, Brazil. Believed contained. See Incident Report P047A 06-2010. Warning. Agents in the area are advised to familiarize themselves with the symptoms of P047A and be on the lookout for possible infection. Fifth outbreak, P047A 2606-2010, redacted, Iraq. Site immediately, data expunged, which is believed to have contained the infection. Access to Incident Report denied without O5 clearance. Hey, I got O5 clearance. Sixth outbreak, P047A 2607-2010, Cameroon. Quarantine enacted. Efforts to track outgoing civilians underway. Infection not contained. See Incident Report P047A 07-2010. Seventh outbreak, P047A 2408-2010, Dalarna, Sweden. Quarantine enacted. Believed contained. See Incident P047A 08-2010. Warning, agents in the area are advised to familiarize themselves with the symptoms of P047A and be on the lookout for possible infection. Eighth outbreak, not recorded, believed to have taken place in North Korea. Data expunged. Agents with government access are attempting to gain access to parallel information, but due to data expunged, local services have been extremely uncooperative. Containment status unknown. Wow, I feel like we get the reference to the previous episode of this with this one. Ninth outbreak, P047A 2310-2010, South Carolina, United States of America. Quarantine enacted. Efforts to track outgoing civilians primarily successful. One civilian in a pickup truck is believed to have data expunged. Infection not contained. This one's just that episode of Stargate. The hallucinating aliens virus from the weird computer. The computer virus is in the lake. Resolution. Reports from data expunged indicate no further outbreaks are believed likely, but agents are advised to be on the lookout for new flare-ups resulting from uncontained civilians in previous outbreak regions. These may continue for years to come due to P047A sporulation. So there could be like just a room of spores somewhere out there with this thing. An investigation into the cause of the initial compromise is underway. Anyone with useful information may anonymously contact security via the attached form. Okay, that was Incident Report Yersinia 04701, parentheses 2010. The three particular species of 0471 mutated bacteria are of note due to their involvement in the containment breach of double blank 2010 single blank. Propionibacterium 047A is a strain of Propionibacterium acnes mutated by 047. Show details. Pathogenicity. Severe skin colonization around sebaceous glands, modification of skin pH to levels that become toxic to skin cells, massive inflammation and immune cell infiltration, eventual breakdown of skin structure leading to sepsis. Transmission transmitted by skin-to-skin contact, can remain on inorganic substances for up to 5 hours. Lethality, approximately 40% mortality rate. Runs its course in 2 to 6 weeks. Very visible symptoms within 5 to 10 hours. Contagious within 2 to 5 hours. Did I say lethality? Well, whatever. Handling. As soon as visible symptoms form, victims must be quarantined. Deceased victims should be incinerated. Streptococcus O4C is a strain of Streptococcus mitis mutated by 047. Show details. Pathogenicity causes inflammation of the mouth and esophagus initially. Leads to open sores in the mouth, which result in S04C entering the bloodstream and becoming septic. Death is usually due to infectious endocarditis. Transmission droplet. Can remain active indefinitely by sporulation. Lethality. Approximately 35% mortality rate. May become a recurring chronic condition if non-lethal. Handling. Subjects with any sign of mouth infection should be quarantined. Deceased victims should be incinerated. Clostridium O47A is a strain of Clostridium difficile mutated by 047. Show details. Pathogenicity. Unknown. CO47A was developed from tissue culture and has never been exposed to a human. No samples remain in Foundation control. Transmission. Unknown. Presumably transmitted through fecal contamination as with C. difficile. Due to smaller, more robust spores may also aerosolize with flatus. Is that flatulation? It's a fart virus? Ugh. Effects of aerosol intake of CO47A cannot be predicted. Lethality. Unknown. Presumed extremely high risk of destruction of endothelial lining of gastrointestinal tract, leading to inflammation, sepsis, toxic megacolon. So it makes you fart and shit your pants until you die. But also, like, nobody's been exposed to it, I guess. Handling. Until further research has been done, victims should be quarantined and placed under 24-hour medical observation to develop functional diagnostics for this strain. Deceased victims should not be incinerated until adequate etiological research has been performed. So this might even be something that spreads through being immolated. We don't know. Recovery log 047. 047 was recovered from the Site Double Blank Secure Laboratory by a Foundation Biohazard Recovery Team in response to a full compromise situation on double blank 1990 single blank. Testing logs indicate that the research team was attempting to contain blank in a class double blank SCP stable pressure cylinder, which led to blank combining with blank. A full molecular biological analysis is available in blank. The initial release of gas when 047 was structurally compromised was sufficient to cause a microbiota bloom of uncounted species of 0471, killing all staff in the lab within single blank hours. So they attempted to do something and it just mutated hardcore and killed everybody. Exposed Site Double Blank staff obeyed standard Foundation quarantine/containment protocol, and the infection was contained successfully. There's another one from my boys in blue. I guess our boys in yellow if it was scientists, I guess. Alright, 048. Other popular works by this author. Alright, there's the page for 048. I think this is more Castlevania, yeah? Michiru Yamane. This is called Serenade of the Hearth. And it is from Order of Ecclesia. 048. Item number 048. Object class none. See description. Special containment procedures. The designation 048 is to be retired from the SCP catalog. No future SCPs are to be assigned this number. Okay. Description: 048 has been considered the cursed SCP number by SCP staff. Any items given this designation tend to be destroyed, decommissioned, stolen, or otherwise lost to the Foundation, usually though no fault of any individual person. In addition, personnel assigned to 048 in its various incarnations have had a 50% higher rate of turnover due to death, dismemberment, and disciplinary action. Meta SCP. Whether or not the number 048 actually has any supernatural qualities is unknown, but given the superstition around this number, the designation has been removed from the catalog in order to help maintain employee morale. Addendum 1. This is ridiculous. I'll prove to you superstitious bastards that you're all just being pussies. The restriction on 048 is now removed and assigned to data expunged. Dr. Cortez. Addendum 2. 048 data expunged was initially thrown into the trash this morning on Lost. In an unrelated incident, Dr. Cortez's arms were accidentally traumatically amputated in a horrific lunchroom blender accident. 048 closed. 0511. Come on, I'll take over this page. I'll rewrite this one. Addendum 3. 048 has been once again removed from the archives after it became highly apparent that no such vampire boat had ever existed, much less come under Foundation control. It's currently believed that this error occurred when a low-level researcher attempted to save his awesome story idea to his hard drive and instead overwrote the blank slot reserved for 048. This is a very meta post. I wonder if this references like the very old Wiki. Said researcher has been removed from any and all archival duties from the time being. 0511, other popular works by this author. Okay. That's funny. I like that. Alright, well let's move on to 049. That's a good one. That's kind of silly. I like the silly articles. Ooh, this one's creepy. What? Oh! I thought this was gonna be 682 episode. I forgot about my homie 049. Okay, this is gonna be a fucking banger. Whew! Well, if you don't know, it's time for 049. I had this image at some point too. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I had this for one of the previous streams. Where is it? It's not Squid Platinum. I know it's definitely not that. Hold on, let me look through my downloads really quick. I want to find this. Should be earlier this week, I think. I know it's not Mystery Hunters. It ain't RuneScape. It was definitely before that. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a fucking meteor. Yeah, it ain't Mystery Hunters. Where is this? There it is. Okay, 2Bay is the name of the beginning of the image. That's gonna help me remember it. So yeah, in reference to 049, we had this image on the stream recently. 2Bay. I smell pestilence. Pestilence? I smell pestilence. Is that pestilence? Alright, well this is 049. The caption for the image just says SCP-049. They really revamped the page to show this one, huh? So, 049, it appears to be a person in a hooded cloak, somewhat indicative of maybe like 1700s, 1500s, maybe even 1300s. Just a traditional, like, type of hooded, form-fitted, but also kind of light trench coat type of thing. It is a full jacket, and using context clues, probably a doctor jacket from who knows how long ago. It is a person, presumably, quote unquote, with a plague doctor's mask, a white mask with a very long protruding proboscis, and we can see that the person or statue, I guarantee you this is a person, has like white eyes emanating from inside the mask, the doctor's mask. And again, it does look very, very similar to a traditional doctor's mask from like the 1200s plague, or whenever the plagues happened and this became a thing. You can see the person or plague doctor sitting at what appears to be just a planed machined table desk, or maybe even just like concrete or something. And they appear to be either standing behind a table or sitting down at a table. Behind them is just what appears to be a shadow and leading into concrete floor or something. Or it could be the surface they're sitting on, but it looks more like just concrete floor in the distance. We can denote some like parts to his articles. It appears the plague doctor is wearing a belt, and really it is just almost like a mage's outfit, but with a hood. It is very baggy, and it appears to be a coat that takes up his entire body. It is not like zip open or button open at all. Alright, this one's going to be a banger. You already know it. I smell pestilence. Alright, 049. Item number 049, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 2 at Site 19. 049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, 049 must be secured with a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. While 049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with 049 during these outbursts. In the event 049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender L-multifida has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calmed, 049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of 049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of 0492 are to be removed from 049's containment cell and incinerated. 049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Temporary Containment Procedure Update. See Addendum 049.3, Pre-Containment Committee Order 049.S19.17.1. 049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries. This order shall persist indefinitely until such time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of 049 can be reached. Description: 049 is a humanoid entity approximately 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While 049 appears to be wearing the thick robes in the ceramic mask, indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of 049's body over time. Footnote 1. The robes and gloves are identical to a thick hide built up on the skin, while the mask is composed of a kind of chitin growing out of the bones of the face, and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, 049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. It's like that one Doctor Who episode where, like, nuclear warfare leads to, plague mask people. It's so fucked. O49 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. Footnote 2. Did I not get the... Okay, hold on. I didn't get the full capture for Footnote 1. So, yeah, there's Footnote 1 if you wanted to read along. The ropes and gloves are identical to a thick hide built up on the skin, while the mask is composed of a kind of chitin growing out from the bones of the face. And tooltip 2. The entity claims to have originated in 15th century France, though admits that it is particularly well traveled. While O49 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. I smell pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to O49. O49 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, and often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, O49 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. O49 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of O49's victims have invariably been inconclusive. O49 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse, using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. Footnote 3. The spose within this bag is seemingly anomalously large, with O49 having been observed pulling objects larger than the bag itself from within it in order to operate on deceased subjects. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of O492. O492 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by O49. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked or if directed to by O49. O492 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, O49 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. Addendum 049.1. Addendum 049.1. Discovery. O49 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban in southern France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of O492 as well as O49. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile O492 instances, O49 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the O492 instances were dispatched, O49 willingly entered Foundation custody. So again, another image. As we've been described so far, this is this is O49. He is definitely, in the appearance, a plague doctor. We can see he even has like a traditional rope belt and a small bag. Is this the doctor's bag, or is this just some other bag that he has? Zooming into the face, we can see either the interior of the mask or its eye. Not really sure. And again, yes, it does appear to be like a mage clothes or like, 1500s black cloak and a hood. It appears to be wearing black gloves as well. And in the distance, in the background, we can see some bicycles of varied colors. I see a silver, a red, and a blue bicycle, or what appears to be bicycles, maybe scooters or something else. What appears to be maybe a black bag, that could be the doctor's bag, or maybe just some black object visible on whatever that bike-looking structure is. And behind the plague doctor, we see some general concrete or parking space or something, and what appears to be just a patterned concrete and tile background, just forming squares that break off into lines the closer we get to the foreground. In the further background, we see what appears to be a college or just a ornate old building. Seeing as how this is probably France, this might be a old France building. Nice green door at the steps leading into the building on the left side with some transom windows. Can't believe I remember that term. At the top of the window door, they appear to be covered. There's also some weird, just implements, horizontal implements on the building for hanging or design, who knows. Next to the door structure is what appears to be more windows. Just again, transom quality to the windows. They're at the topmost region. These appear to be see-through. Either that or there's like a man or something in there. But it does appear to be reflecting some of the surface area of the outside where it's, whatever surface is reflecting. The building appears to be made of brick, and that second window I mentioned, below it is just what appears to be an area where the architect decided not to put windows. So what appears to be windows, but it's probably just plastered over or something with tile. Again, more of that right behind the Plague Doctor. And then as we go further over next to that, there is an adjacent passageway with, again, it appears to be open area transom window, or whatever the upper area window is. There's a recess in the walls, or maybe like a forward bulge of the wall. And it appears to just lead into, like I said, maybe a college or a library or something. Next to that entrance, the green open air window, open doored entrance, is a full window. Towards the top, there's two smaller windows, and then it branches into two medium windows, and then two large windows as it reaches its stoop, closing off the window. And again, just some other type of brick, maybe concrete brick, instead of whatever other brick they use for the building. And an archway leading into some area with another door or window. Very interesting patterned, ornate old archway with, again, laid brick or something, which leads into another area of the college or whatever this is. And at the far right corner, we just see another window. Alright, let's continue. So the caption for that said 049 upon discovery. So yeah, that must be in France. And we have an audio file, because this guy talks. The following interview was conducted by Dr. Raymond Ham during the initial investigation.
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
Is that French? Can we get a translator?
The King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough.
Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham, and I...
Ah, a doctor. A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your speciality, sir?
Cryptobiology. Why?
A medical man, such as myself. Wonders abound. And here, I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. This place, then, this is your laboratory. I had wondered, as clean as it is, and with such little trace of the pestilence here.
The pestilence? What do you mean?
The scourge. The great dying. Come now, you know what is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence, yes. It abounds outside these walls, you know. So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed. Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see. The cure to end all cures.
When you say the great dying, are you talking about the bubonic plague?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I see. Right, well, the entities our agents encountered at the house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? You reanimated them.
In a manner of speaking, you see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death, sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians. There is only one ailment that exists in the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else. Make no mistake, they were very ill. All of them.
You think you cured those people?
Indeed. My cure is most effective.
But the things we recovered were not human.
Yes, well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will come with time and further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more if necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those on my own. In time.
Oh, I don't think our organization would be willing to...
Nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Our work begins now.
Well, that was stunning. I'm a big fan of 049. He's a little crazy. He considers life the pestilence. We can discern that by now. I know my friend who's a big fan of plague doctors would really like this one. I'll have to see if he'll check this VOD out whenever I've finished uploading it to YouTube. So yeah, we had a full narration for that one, kind of rare to find on the SCP Wiki. Addendum 049.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site-19, 049 has spent a considerable amount of time... Wait, I missed something. Interviewers note while 049 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there's a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity indeed. Additionally, we've confiscated that pointed stick that 049 keeps waving around. Part of this was due to standard confiscation protocols for the possessions of anomalies, and part because 049 really is a menace, swinging it around like he does. Just like the first Doctor. The entity was displeased at first, but after we made some concessions in providing it with test subjects, which are admittedly more for the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea. Addendum 049.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site-19, 049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it has been provided. 049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of 049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. 049 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff. The following is a log of several occasions during which 049 was observed operating on a mammalian corpse. Observational log 049.OL.1 Summary. Subject 049. Preface. A test subject, D85123, was introduced into 049's containment cell. The entity expressed sincere gratitude toward all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes. 049 began by asking D85123 several standard medical questions as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, 049 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat. Afterwards, 049 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse, often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing. The resulting 049-2 instance became animated, flailing and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs, while moaning out of an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, 049 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficacy of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move 049 back to containment and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 049-2 instance, and 049 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results. Observational log 049.OL.2 Summary.
Subject 049. Preface: 049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat. 049 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observation notes: 049 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of 049-2. 049 expressed pleasure in this outcome, though admitted the disease was still in its nascent stage. My veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure. Observational log 043.ol.3. Observational log 049.ol.3 summary. Subject 049. Preface: 049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan. 049 expressed noted gratitude at the provision due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation notes: 049 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, 049 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work. After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, 049 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I have learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I hadn't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure. More subjects like this would do a great deal in advancing my research." Observational log 049.ol.7 full. Subject 049. Preface: 049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. 049 expressed a mild annoyance at the provision, though accepted it nonetheless. Tooltip 4. 049 has stated its desire to work on human subjects several times between this occasion and the earlier provision of an orangutan, noting its discontentedness when they would not be provided. Observation notes: 049 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese. He eats. Now I smell pestilence. Oh, I have no idea what this is from. I guess this is, not Street Fighter. This is Phantasy Star Portable? Weird. Anyway. Tooltip 5. 049 has expressed that it does not require sustenance, but it enjoys it and feels that the food helps to put it in the right mind to operate. So it is self-aware about its anomalous effects. Beginning first by embalming the corpse, 049 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark viscous fluid. 049 described these fluids as essences of the humors, and elaborated by saying the pestilence may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such a case, before true healing can begin, one must find the humors in balance or the body will reject the cure. So again, treating life and death as the pestilence. 049 added to this statement by saying, "This, of course, is elementary knowledge for the practical physician. I would have thought you would have learned this during your education." Over the next few days, 049 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, 049 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs. So he's really just like a doctor of animation. Okay, we'll listen to this Streets of Rage music in a minute. We got another narrated interview. Follow-up interview. Begin log.
We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Could you describe your process in detail?
Oh, goodness, no. The process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here in my journals, as I have kept exhaustive records of my work there.
Footnote 7. Notably, 049's journals are not written in any known language, and attempts by linguists and codebreakers to decipher them have been unsuccessful.
see. Well, my concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living, mindless drones helps in that effort.
You do not understand the pestilence, even after all this time. Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror, one that has shown its true face many times before, and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it. But many, like yourself, cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend.
That still doesn't answer my question. How's your cure any kind of cure at all?
It is a cure. You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for. Stricken as it was with the pestilence, this creature is now clean, unable to spread the pestilence, and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise.
This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even...
Do not jape with me, sir. You and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes. Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the whole collapses on top of you? No. You find them and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to agitate you. I'm just trying to understand.
Yes. Well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece. I will forgive this as an act of good faith between colleagues.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule. You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies.
Alright, that was quite the entry. And log, attending researcher's note, 049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. I've watched it now over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, 049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 049.3 04/16/2017 incident. Starting shortly after 049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects and the 0492 instances. This continued for a period of several months, during which 049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering 049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded 049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it into an instance of 0492. In the aftermath of this incident, 049 was interviewed by Dr. Theron Sherman. Alright, time for another.
I need you to explain yourself. SCP-049, you are being directed to explain your actions, and I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment.
My actions do not need to be explained.
You killed Raymond Ham, and then butchered him until he...
Not dead. No, not dead. He is cured.
Cured? Cured of what?
The pestilence, sir. I had thought you, at least, would realize what luck it is. I detected it before.
What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before, that it would be worth his life?
The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashions, and has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared. And call it what you want, Doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured.
He is a vegetable.
I would not expect you to understand. You and your ilk have proven time and time again not to be men of science, but men of emotion. You cannot appreciate the horrors I have seen. Those many millions who have succumbed to the pestilence and been changed.
Your cure cost Ray his life.
No, good sir. I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle. And
what disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man. He was a good doctor.
I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir. You are short-sighted and foolish. Dr. Ham was sick, and I cured him. I am the only one who can do this. My work must continue. There is still so much to learn, so much.
I've had enough of this.
And
consider your allowances revoked.
Saved. Even you.
Welcome to Containment, 049.
Might be saved.
We're done here.
I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me. I saved him. Dr. Ham. I cured him. He was sick. I know he was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick, but I can save you. I can save all of you, because I am the cure.
Addendum 049.4 Post-Incident Report Interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the 4/16/17/049 Incident Report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. I just realized I forgot to say earlier. So it was interviewer Dr. Theron Sherman at Site 42, interviewee 049. And let's see. Date 5/7/17. Interviewer Dr. Elijah Itkin, interviewee 049. Begin log.
SCP-049, we are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make?
Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it.
Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham?
Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable. But in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation.
Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview.
Mourn? Perhaps. I had not thought that. It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected. But the work continues. Regrettable as it was, Dr. Ham's death provided important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh. and I have gleaned all I can from your generous supply of corpses. My desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease.
I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, Doctor, I wouldn't be so sure.
And luck. Well, oh doctor, I wouldn't be so sure. It leads to scpwiki.wiki.com/going-home. And footnote 2, a particularly well-traveled. Excerpts from the medical tragedy of Dr. Bartholomew Arts Out. Anything else? Practical physician, death and the doctor's hub. Any known language, the Hanged King's comedy. So, we're not gonna read these, but I did enjoy that 049. That was very cool. I like all the narration we had. So here's just all of the pages I can show that cross-link to this. Like I said, I do like 049, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to catch up on all of this. Maybe some other time we'll do like an etc. read through and just read stuff I could have read, like these smaller short stories, but we gotta move on. It's time for 050. Looks like it's gonna be a shorter one too. Alright, let's do this. SCP-050, item number 050, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. So far, all attempts to contain 050 have proven fruitless. Footnote 1. Testing to contain 050 has been discontinued at this time. At present, whoever has possession of 050 is to leave it in an office that they use with regularity. Footnote 2. Attempts to leave 050 in unused offices have resulted in it following its owner home. This is a violation of regulations and not to be allowed. Description. 050 appears to be a statue of a monkey reading a book, approximately 1 foot tall. Footnote 3. One of the quirks of 050 is that no matter what form of measurement is used, any record of said measurements will quickly be replaced by the customary system measurements. On the bottom of the statue are engraved the words, "To the cleverest," in cursive script. The statue has so far proven resistant to all forms of damage. Footnote 4. Attempts to damage 050 have resulted in increasingly lethal pranks. As of this writing, destruction testing is discontinued. As such, there is no accurate method to date the object. When left alone, 050 has shown itself to be both useful and antagonistic to its current owner. Footnote 5, see document 050. Although never seen to move, no matter the manner or amount of recordings, any room it is left in becomes very clean to a polish whenever possible. Paperwork is filed, trash is emptied, and in general, clutter is removed. However, 050 also has a tendency to leave traps for its owner, so current holders should carefully check their offices upon returning. Okay, let's check out document 50, I guess. Here's document 50. There's a lot of entries for it. But, yeah. Le Monkey Statue. Document 50, the great researcher prank war of Double Blank. Oh boy, this is a meta SCP. I think I know what this is. On 01 Double Blank 20 Double Blank, during an attempted capture of SCP-963 by Chaos Insurgency agents, is that the first time we're seeing that? That's a reference to, like, the alternate to MTF, Chaos Insurgency. Dr. Bright made use of 963's intrinsic capabilities to make fools of the attempted kidnappers. When Bright returned to his office, he found a monkey statue waiting for him. His office had been tidied in his absence and everything filed away, which came as something of a shock for the naturally messy Dr. Bright. I don't really know many named scientists and researchers in the SCP Foundation, but Dr. Bright I know is a good one. Upon further investigation, it was found that, despite the apparent tidiness of his office, all his pens had been drained of all but the last bit of ink, and several important documents had been translated into Aramaic. Dr. Bright immediately began the usual testing of this new SCP, but found himself going nowhere, until Dr. Wrights, as payback for something unspecified, smeared his desk with one half of a compound epoxy and applied the other half of the compound to his utensils. At this point, 050 vanished from Dr. Bright's office, reappearing in Dr. Wright's office, whereupon O50 began the cleanup again. So it seems drawn to those who do pranks. After several tests, it became apparent that O50 was easily contained, as long as no one outside the Foundation proved to be cleverer than the Foundation scientists. Of course, this led to many of the Foundation scientists seeking to claim the title of most clever for themselves, and thus began the great researcher prank war of Double Blank. Memorandum O58, no good will come of this. O5 single blank. So even higher ups like, guys, don't do this. Entry 1, Bright to English. Or Bright Arrow English. Entry 1, Dr. English accesses SCP-705. Here's the page. Wait, we disconnected from the internet. Hold on. I figured this would happen. At least I caught it early on. Alright, we should reconnect in just a minute. Some spooky, scary Zelda music for this stream tonight, huh? Yeah, should reconnect in about 10 seconds. We'll see here. Just gonna wait so we can go back to Twitch. Okay, we should be back on Twitch. Welcome back, welcome back. Apparently we have 0 drop frames, nice. Okay. Let me refresh 705. Nice, Castlevania time. This is SCP-705. I also see a reference to 963. This is pretty important, but I'll see. Maybe we don't read the additional entries here, just these entries. 705 is allowed access to approximately 100 pounds of similarly colored Play-Doh. After several minutes conversation, the new army retreats to the ventilation shafts. No footage of Dr. Bright's room exists, but several hours later, Dr. Bright stumbles out, covered in little red welts and red Play-Doh, swearing and muttering. O50 transfers ownership to Dr. English. Okay. Entry 2, English to Eisendorf. Entry 2, at 11:30 p.m. on double blank, quadruple blank. So I guess Dr. Bright got saved from chaos insurgency with this one. Agent Strelnikov is seen exiting his room in full rage, carrying a machine gun. Smoke pours from the open door of his quarters. Senior researcher Eisendorf is later found to be in possession of O50, proving that a good enough prank will attract O50's attention no matter the target. Okay, entry 3, Eisendorf to Kondraki. At 10:25 a.m., double blank, quadruple blank, Dr. Eisendorf returned from a brief coffee break to discover a typed note sitting on his desk, rewritten here. Dr. Eisendorf, it seems there is a problem with the Class A amnesiac you requested following your 231 assignment. Please hop on the next plane leaving from the site, and wait until someone comes and picks you up so that we can get this all sorted out. Cheers. 05 triple blank. Jeez. Is 05 command going for this one now? Let's see what 231 is. Adult content. Okay. Interesting. Does he need an amnestic for himself reading that one? Despite factual and stylistic errors in this note, inappropriately informal style, the fact that there is no overseer 3.14, Dr. Eisendorf apparently took the note seriously and became highly distressed. Dr. Eisendorf boarded the next airplane leaving Site 23, which turned out to be a regularly scheduled flight traveling to Site 19. Dr. Eisendorf apparently did not realize this until landing, at which point he still waited over 8 hours outside the site, before a guard found him and asked him what he was doing. Dr. Eisendorf soon confirmed that he had never been assigned to 231, and quickly worked out what had happened. O50 was observed in the office of Dr. Kondraki later that same day. I'm a fan of the machine gun one. Entry 4, Kondraki to called. Uh-oh, we got a 173 reference. At 7:28 p.m., single blank, double blank, 2009, Dr. Kondraki was called away by assistant researcher Hearth under the pretense of a 173 containment breach. Security cameras recovered footage of the ensuing prank. Upon returning to his office, Kondraki pauses briefly when he reaches his door. Moments later, he is seen backing slowly out of his office, keeping his eyes fixed on something inside. It was later revealed that Dr. Cald had placed a replica of 173 in Kondraki's office, positioned in such a way that it faced the door, establishing eye contact with whoever might enter the room. Kondraki continued to retreat until slipping on a hitherto unnoticed puddle of cooking oil. The replica of 173, made of wireframe paper mache and spray paint, was relocated to Dr. Joseph Cald's office, shortly followed by O50. Nice. Entry 5, called to Yorick. Upon returning to his office on double blank, single blank 2009, Dr. Cald was surprised to find the statue replaced with a note, reading, "I can't believe no one's thought of this." The statue was later located in the staff locker of Agent Yorick, who had simply stolen it. I mean, yeah, that's legendary. Just stealing a 173 statue, you can do so much with it. That's a legendary prank for sure. Entry 6, Yorick to Cald. Statue returned to Cald. Yorick's living space in utter disarray. Agent Yorick is found unconscious. The words, "to be earned," tattooed on his forehead through unknown means. Oh shit. That's not a song.
As you can see, PlayStation
Alucard. Okay, come on. This is funny, but let's get to the music. I love Alucard's intro to this, but you know, I gotta read. I don't want two voices at the same time. Entry 7. Oh, what did this say? There's Entry 7, called to light. Called to light, nice. From double blank 2009 to double blank 2009, maintenance teams were called 27 times to Dr. Cald's office while he was out, all having received orders to install, repair, or remove a piece of furniture from the office, apparently at random. Dr. Cald became increasingly paranoid about these intrusions, considering his possession of O50 and at double blank of double blank 2009, so that is time of date 2009, decided to bring his paperwork and the SCP back to his headquarters and work from there. Upon entering his quarters, Dr. Cald was doused by the contents of a bucket, carefully balanced on the entrance's door jamb. Nice. Ownership of O50 changes to Dr. Light. Entry 8, Light to Coleman. On double blank 2009, Dr. Coleman was seen pinning a notice to the break room notice board which read, "Due to the effects of SCP triple blank, all personnel who have received an amnesiac of any kind within the past 6 months are required to report to Dr. Light immediately." This was signed and notarized by no fewer than 17 members of O5 Command and senior staff. This is an O5 level prank. After seeing this, an email was immediately sent out, retracing the information and causing mass panic among some of our more paranoid employees. After what can only be described as a bum rush on Dr. Light's newly refurbished office, resulting in the destruction of many items contained within, O50 was found on Dr. Coleman's desk. That's a good one. O5 Command wanted to end it, and someone else is gonna fucking get a dab on Dr. Coleman. This is Coleman to Okagawa. On double blank 2009, Dr. Coleman was called out of his quarters by an email from an unknown source. 5 minutes later, security footage showed Dr. Okagawa entering Schumacher's quarters, carrying a bag with unknown contents, and leaving the room a few minutes later without the bag. Upon returning, Coleman discovered a dead rodent which appeared to have been slathered in secretions of 447. What is 447? I'm just gonna quickly scroll through it because I don't want to go on like link hell. Personnel in adjacent rooms reported hearing a stream of profanity followed by a thud. Worried researchers found him passed out on the floor while the slime was later identified as green gelatin from the kitchen and the dead rat as a rubber toy. O50 was later found in Dr. Okagawa's office. Entry 10, Okagawa to Chapelsky. This next one's looking crazy. Video log, double blank 2009, 12:34 p.m. Dr. Okagawa leaves for the cafeteria, presumably for lunch/late breakfast. Researcher Chapelsky is seen entering Dr. Okagawa's office, carrying several testing vials and SCP triple blank. Left the office 5 minutes later, closing the door behind him rather hurriedly. Okagawa returns 10 minutes later, opens the door, and is snagged by a large tentacle which pulls him into the office and shuts the door behind him. A security team is dispatched to Okagawa's office and discovers him entangled by a giant squid. The team is seen trying to neutralize the cephalopod and free Okagawa. The animal's remains were subsequently destroyed. O50 has been located in researcher Chapelsky's office. Alright, entry 11, Chapelsky to Jones to Chapelsky to Jones to Bright. It's coming back to Dr. Bright's hands. Entry 11-1 on double blank 2012. Researcher Chapelsky came into work at approximately 0800 hours and promptly received a pie in the face, courtesy of Project Director Jones. O50 was found on Project Director Jones's desk later that afternoon. What? That wasn't original at all, Dr. Bright. Entry 11-2 on double blank 2012, Project Director Jones reported to his post, researching SCP triple blank. Upon entering the facility, he was met by researcher Chapelsky, who threw 2 pies at his face. O50 was found in researcher Chapelsky's office 10 minutes later. Entry 11-3 on double blank 2012, Chapelsky entered his office to find Project Director Jones waiting for him with 3 pies, which he promptly threw at the researcher's face. O50 appeared in Jones's workplace that evening. Guys, I think we broke it. Project Director Jones. Yeah, it's just pies in the face at this point. Entry 11-4, in the middle of the workday, Dr. Bright entered Jones's research lab with 4 pies, which he threw in his face. As he was leaving, security footage records him saying, "This better not fucking work." O50 was on Dr. Bright's desk upon his return. No, it's God damn it, Dr. Bright. Okay, no more fucking pies, alright? Project Director Jones. Entry number at hash or number sign Bright to SCP-732. Okay. On single blank double blank 2012, an error occurred in the Foundation main database, reassigning System Technician Kent to a Squad DEA hash and ampersand at stopping Ted Dreadlord Asatoff. Exclamation 1 exclamation caret right parenthesis hash or is that dollar sign hash TM at G-side the cleaning crews during the exclamation left parenthesis TM at segging of Castle Hellfire caret exclamation left parenthesis hash Gunment Joshua Kent was ordered to exclamation plus equals quote tilde save the princess Ashley from the Baron Blackstaff exclamation 11 exclamation to exclamation left curly brace / at left parenthesis sewage with several gallons of feces comma caret 3 tilde underscore greater than symbol gold and platinum $9 left parenthesis equal 1 hash on his head. What? During the second half of the assignment, exclamation 0 and at Sir Ketan and his friends, the Magical Knight Bob asterisk exclamation had to test several quote parentheses at hash super magic weapons exclamation right parenthesis exclamation dollars despite the odor. During this time, a routine system sweep had found a left parenthesis at $! Exclamation barrel of pure awesomeness at $% at in the database. Despite the numerous nearby systems that could have been infected, SCP exclamation right parenthesis $ at -leet felt the dread lower down the volcano! Exclamation, exclamation, 1 at left parentheses percent quotes concerning System Technician Kent's assignment. System Technician Kent was returned to Site 23 largely unharmed. O50 was discovered sitting by a hard drive heavily infected with SCP-732, with the statue seeming to consider the virus its new owner. Dank. Entry 13, data expunged. Data expunged. Entry 14, data expunged. Data expunged. Entry 15, SCP-732 to light. On double blank 2012, Dr. Light connected the 732 infected hard drive to a scanner and asked 732 if it would produce lolcat images on request. Its response, presented in the form of an 8,000-word erotic story featuring itself in the form of a man named Lord Kickass, Dr. Light, and redacted, was that, with the help of O50, it can do anything. Dr. Light provided 732 with scanned photographs of 577, 529, 607, and 2 instantiations of 331. 732 produced 10 lolcat images for each photograph. Dr. Light then provided 732 with 637 in the form of a drawing by 637-2. As a result of this, 732 was rapidly overwritten with an estimated 63 GB of text describing 637's actions and appearance. Whether this information could have filled all available computer memory is unknown, as the last actions of Lord Kickass, the Lord Kickass instantiation, were to induce total mechanical failure to its hard drive, accompanied by catastrophic uncontrolled oxidation. O50 was found in Dr. Light's office next morning. Note: 6372 reports that 637 was not harmed by its venture into 732, but that its fur was really messed up. Note: other copies of 732 seem unaffected by the suicide of Lord Kickass. What the fuck is 637? Like a furry shitpost emoji? Virus? I don't wanna know. Fuck these side articles. Jesus. How do we even get there? Was that document 50? Yeah, that was all the pranks here, okay? I guess that was O50. And with that, that's gonna end it for tonight. I can't believe we went to 049 tonight. I totally forgot about that one. But yeah, I think the 682 addendum post, like the whole page for it, we're gonna set aside a whole day for that, I think. So I'll probably like reread 682 to start that stream off, and it'll just be a bonus. And yeah, we'll do some 682 posting, I guess. But yeah, I want to thank you very much for stopping by, watching me stream some more Reading the SCP Foundation Wiki, numbers 41 through 50, and also random ones. It's been a blast tonight, and it's, as always, been a chill stream, too, so, yeah, go ahead and drop me a follow on the Twitch channel, please, if you will. And go click the About section on Twitch, go subscribe, go follow, go join the social medias. I'm gonna go ahead and link them in chat for you really quick. What? I just copy-pasted the stream name, how? What? Control-C. There it is. So yeah, go follow the Twitter, go join the Discord, go subscribe to the main edited videos channel, and go subscribe to the VOD archive channel. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.